I'm your brother Jethro.
And I'm your sister Imogen.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Imogen,
Jethro.
what is something that's happened in the last 24 hours that I wouldn't know unless you've told me?
Well, when I was scraping the wax off the table after the last episode, I thought it looked a lot like flakes, Cadbury flakes, and I was so tempted to eat a bit.
Did you?
I didn't because I knew that would be bad for me. But if I was any younger, I probably would have. And now I really want chocolate flakes.
I mean, it smells so good.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
So that didn't help, but
There you go.
I did not eat the wax.
You didn't eat the candle wax.
No.
That's a win.
Yes.
We're chalking that up to a win.
Jethro,
Imogen.
what's something that's happened in the last 24 hours that we wouldn't know unless you told us?
What did I do yesterday besides what we spoke about on the last podcast?
I've got a prompting question.
Yeah.
What did you listen to on the way down?
I listened to a podcast with a ex-Navy SEAL CIA guy
Cool.
who interviews veterans and just people that are involved in that world. And yeah, so I listened to a bit of that, bit of music.
Wow.
So yeah, I listened to that podcast. Yeah.
Do you remember what it's called?
Yeah, it's just called The Sean Ryan
Oh, okay.
Show. The Sean Ryan Show, The Sean Ryan Podcast. I listened to that and yeah,
Cool.
find it fascinating, people's lives. And I mean, there are some stories that are like, it's rare that like what you see in movies, obviously an exaggeration of things.
Yeah.
But there are some people that have like gone through stuff like that. And you like to listen to like real people and the effects of like the mental effects of going to war and stuff and everything. It's just interesting to hear the human side of what you would see in a movie or something like that. So, yeah. So I listened to that show on the way down,
Cool.
which was great. It was fun. And yeah,
Would you like to light a fire?
I would like to light a fire.
Okay, you can light the fire.
Thank you.
Jethro is going to light the conversation candle, and then we're going to get into a conversation about spontaneity. Yes. That was a very aesthetic puff of smoke when you blew that out. Put that over here.
Twas.
Near my books that won't catch on fire because it's not lit.
Speaking of being lit, spontaneousness.
Yeah.
That is a word, right?
Spontaneousness. I don't know. I think it is spontaneity. I feel like we need to Google this now.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a spontaneous person?
I would say so, yeah. I definitely think about the consequences of things, but I've been, kind of training myself over the last few months, maybe the last year or so, to go with the flow a bit more, and if opportunities present themselves, just to do it.
What does that look like on a date? Is that like going out during the day being like, I'm going to go do this today and actually going and doing it?
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, that's kind of what it looks like. I'm very lucky that with the kind of work that I do, I have a lot of flexibility during the day. So, I mean, the last example that I can think of was maybe 2 weekends ago now. I had a friend message me saying, hey, a bunch of us are going to a theme park at 10 o'clock, and it was 20 past 9. And they said, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah. So I literally got ready in 5 minutes and then drove to the theme park for the day. So I think that was pretty spontaneous. But day-to-day wise, it's, just kind of going with the flow, really.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, yeah. I used to wasn't spontaneous, like as a kid and all that. Yeah, growing up, yeah. But this last year, I have become more spontaneous, I reckon, and being open to things. What?
Oh, the example that comes to mind is you waking me up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, get up, we're going to go watch the sunrise at a place that's an hour south of us. And then you pressed a button on your phone and it was like, it's Brittany, bitch. And you walked out of my room.
Yeah, it's pretty spontaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I
Yeah.
think it's, yeah. the small things. I think it's like the little,
All right.
like
Has there been like a medium or a big size thing that you've been spontaneous on?
a couple over the last year or two. Two month long, one was a month long, one was 2 weeks long with my brother and I. One was a month long solo road trip
Okay.
around and through Australia. Mm-hmm. That was pretty I think that was 4 days of like, I
Planning
want to
it.
go do this. And then dad being like, yeah, because my dad was my boss at the time.
Yeah.
And being like, yeah, it's fine. And going was like 4 days.
The quickest any kind of annual leave has ever been approved.
Yeah, yes. Straight to head office and quickly approved.
Yep.
So that was pretty spontaneous. On another episode, we can probably get into more details about that trip itself, maybe. But that was pretty spontaneous. That was 4 days of, I want to go do this, and then being away for a month.
Yeah.
The second thing was similar thing, but with my brother. We spoke about at the start of this year, which this year's 2023. At the start of this year on New Year's, we were like, oh, we should do a trip sometime. And like sometime in the middle of the year. And it got to the sometime in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we have a bit of time. Let's go. I'm not sure how long it was, like from we're going to actually leaving. But it was pretty quick as well.
I mean, I remember hearing about it maybe a day or two before you left.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, the boys are going to go on a month or however long trip.
Yeah.
And that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool to do something like that with our other brother, the angel child. And we'll just call him the angel child.
He's
for
just
now.
going to be the angel child.
Yeah. And the last kind of biggish thing was getting tattoos on pretty much hey, like, should I get tattoos? And then going and getting them.
Yeah.
But-
But the thing is with that though, you'd been thinking about those tattoos and what you would get for years, right?
Yeah, ever since I was like 18, so years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I knew what I kind of wanted and everything.
Did you get them before your birthday or after? You got them before your birthday.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So 4 years of
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 years of thinking about it. And yeah, I think it was you that said, we're up north somewhere, a couple of hours north.
Yeah.
And
On a little weekend getaway thing.
yeah.
And yeah, a friend had asked me if I wanted to go get a piercing. And I was like, no. No. And usually I'd be all down for it, but I'm
Yeah.
quite content with I don't want any more piercings and I don't think I'm ever going to get any tattoos. So
Yeah.
I said to you, why don't you go get a tattoo?
Yeah.
And then half an hour later you had an appointment booked, and then 10 minutes after that you were driving north to the place where you're going to go get the tattoos done.
Yeah. And I got 2. I was going with the intention of getting 1, but
That's pretty spontaneous.
yeah. So I just have 2. I want to get more.
Is there anything spontaneous you've done that you've regretted?
No.
I mean, if it's not off the top of your head, then that might be a good sign.
No, like there's nothing major that was like, oh, that didn't.
Yeah,
No, nothing that I regret really.
that's cool.
Yeah, like I don't regret these or anything like that.
Yeah.
And in another episode, we'll probably go in more depth about them, but no, I don't regret it. I mean, yeah. How about you? What are kind of 2
Some
or 3?
spontaneous things that I've done. Well,
Yeah. And have you regretted any of them?
actually, something that just came to mind that I hadn't considered was spontaneous was my breakup, actually. Because that happened, it was, I wasn't even considering it. And then I talked to my parents on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then kind of by Sunday, I knew like, okay, things aren't going to change. I'm going to have to like, there's no talking about this. Like we've tried that for a while and it just hasn't worked. So, and then by Tuesday I was like, no, we're done. And I did it on Tuesday. So that was actually pretty spontaneous.
I remember you coming to my room and being like, hey, I'm about to like
Yeah.
break hearts.
I literally told you
And-
that I'm glad you talked to me, because that afternoon, like leading up to the time where I'd said I'd meet my ex and get over and done with, I was going through my head. So I'm glad we could talk about things during that time.
Yeah.
So there was that. Something that was more on a positive note, which was really fun, was I met this beautiful girl, and she and I hit it off really quick. She was traveling the southeast Queensland region, which we're in, and said she wanted to go up to Cairns before she left the country
That was spontaneous.
to snorkel
Yes.
the Great Barrier Reef. And I'd actually planned on
We're going to talk about that.
in another podcast.
Okay. Okay.
There's a story about some British Marines, and Jethro's wiggling his eyebrows at me. We'll get to that another day.
Yes.
But yeah, I had actually planned on doing a solo road trip, kind of like what Jethro had done in the past. 2 or 3 weeks after the girl was supposed to leave the country. And I said to her, hey, look, it's going to be such a tight squeeze for me because I've got a dancing competition the next weekend. So I'd have to make it up there and back in a week. And I was just like, hey, let's do it. Like, you're here. I'm here. I want to do it. I'd feel more comfortable doing my first trip with you, at least half of it. So we figured that out on Friday, and I think we left on Tuesday. Well, we talked about it on Friday. Like, hey, do you want to lift up to Cairns? Like, I'll drive you. And then actually we didn't talk about it on Saturday. We met up on Sunday and we left on Tuesday. So it was like 2 days of planning a trip all the way up to North Queensland, far North Queensland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It was so much fun, and I do not regret it. I absolutely loved it. And I think I learned something from that. I didn't regret it, but I learned that the kind of travel that I want to do in the future is more about the journey, not the destination. It was very, very quick to get up there and very, very quick to get back. I drove back in 2 days. Probably not the wisest decision, considering it was almost like 2,000 kilometers drive. But yeah, just not being able to stop at other places along the way and kind of take my time. I definitely learnt from that spontaneous adventure that
To
I wanna
enjoy the process of it.
that's what I want to do with my travels in the future
Yeah.
around Australia specifically.
Do you want to talk a little bit about van life and stuff?
Yeah,
Or
well-
how that's changed and what it used to look like for you versus now?
Oh, so the dream was always a combi van.
Whenever I see one, I think of you.
Oh, I saw 2 the other day and I was like, it's a sign. I really want it. I think it'd be so much fun to get in a combi and just drive around Australia. And that kind of evolved when I was in my relationship to a bigger van that 2 of us could live in. And then after the breakup for a while there, I didn't even think about it. I just thought, oh, okay, maybe I actually don't want that. But I've been getting a lot of signs from the universe, from God lately, that, it's something that it is still on my heart. It's something I still really want to do. I think it'd be amazing.
Would you live out of the van, or would you want to do like a weekend thing, or is it just
I still
up in
want to
the
go
air?
right around. So
Yeah.
I very much am a minimalist at heart. Having so much stuff makes me feel like my room's a bit of a hectic mess at the moment for this setup. It looks really nice in the picture, but I've got my books and stuff strewn everywhere, and I do not like it. So
Yeah, down here is an absolute nightmare of just.
I'm not even gonna look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the more I think about it, the more if I do the van life thing, it's going to be to go around Australia. That is the purpose. It's not going to be just to live in it and see how it goes and be around here, around where home is.
But to actually go on a big adventure. And
It's going to be an adventure.
do you reckon a couple of months, weeks? Do you see it being?
I have no idea, and that's the
Yes?
amazing
Yeah.
thing is that I could get up north because I imagine going up north first, and I could absolutely hate it and just want to turn around and come home. But I don't think I will because that spontaneous adventure earlier in the year with my friend, we slept in the back of the car and it was fantastic. Like, I loved it. I felt great, felt safe.
How do you reckon you'll go being alone for that long?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to feel loneliness a lot more than I have been lately. But also I can do whatever I could do whatever I want whenever I want without having to tell anybody about it
Yeah.
or without having to explain myself or anything. And I think I'm kind of looking forward to that. So, also, there are good people out there. Mum always tells us not to talk to strangers, and
Some strangers are lovely though.
some
Like,
stra-
yeah.
well, that's the thing. Like on my way back from that trip when I was traveling alone, there was I had to get extra oil for my car because my oil light came on and I had no idea what to buy. So I went into the servo and said to the servo guy, like, can you help me? He ended up giving me free. He said, pick any chocolate you want, darling. You can have that for free. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So I chose like some breath mints and like he was really nice to me. And some people are really, really lovely. And I think there's just a bit of like discernment that comes with that and trusting your gut kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had like a 10 or 15-minute conversation with a servo lady out there once.
Yeah.
On my trip.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, I'm getting the life debrief right now from this stranger in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So any person's like, there's a person.
Uh-huh.
And so
That's it. On my way
Yeah.
back, the last stretch I did, I think it was a 4-hour stretch from up north to where we live. I stopped to get an iced coffee and the guy at the servo started talking to me about AI because I paid with cash. And he's like, oh, yeah, don't give your money to the banks. And he was talking about AI and he was talking about like the iRobot and like all
Yeah.
those kind of robot uprising movies like Terminator and stuff. And I'm just standing there like, this dude really needs a chat. Like, sure, I'll talk with you, mate.
yeah.
So there are nice people out there. I don't think I'd have an issue with feeling lonely. I would.
Get a dog.
I don't think I want a dog yet.
Okay.
Nah.
I guess it's like probably I'm not sure how a dog would go being in a car.
I've seen a lot of van life videos and like YouTubers who have dogs in their vans and in their vehicles and stuff. And it's good. Sometimes you'd have to leave the dog there or you'd have to get somebody to look after it. It's just
Well,
kind of like not having any responsibility right now.
Yeah, because you do have to look after it, make sure like
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
And then if I get a puppy or anything, there's all the training it or it's the getting it used to, like if it's already used to like a home lifestyle, getting it used to a lifestyle on the road kind of thing. I just, not yet.
Yeah.
No.
So it's going truly solo and just.
Yeah. Just me, myself and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I think that's going to be a lot like your tattoos, where I've been thinking about this for years.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like, I imagined being at an outing with some friends and just being like, all right, guys, I'm leaving tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. And then you
And
just
it
leave.
just being like that and just leaving.
Yeah.
Or not even saying goodbye and just going. No, I want to say goodbye. But, you know, like, I think the spontaneity of that is going to come from, the moment that I leave.
Yeah. In terms of like job, work, like everything just lining up, there'll probably be a time where it's like,
Just going to pack up and go.
I'm going to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you regret anything that you've done that's spontaneous?
No. Not that I can think of.
Have you ever gone
No.
to, I was going to say, have you ever gone to like a party spontaneously and just regretted going? But that type of thing, like friends' birthdays, they're not usually spontaneous. Usually like a planned thing where it's like show up
Yeah.
at this time and you show up and it's like, oh, I want to go home. That's not that's why I stopped. It's maybe not as spontaneous as.
You know what? I don't think so. Because even if I was in that situation where I did spontaneously show up somewhere that, you know, maybe somebody had invited me to and I hadn't thought about it, if I didn't like it, I'd just leave.
Yeah.
So
You'll spontaneously leave.
I would spontaneously disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't think so.
That's awesome.
I wonder if there is any downside to spontaneity. Like I'm sure if I thought about it and went through like each year of my life, I could come up with something. But
That's a good question. Is there anything, what are the downsides of being is there?
all right, well, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, let us know. Like
When have you been spontaneous and regretted it?
because usually you can like, oh, I'm gonna go do that, and then you just don't like it, then you just come back,
Yeah.
and so you don't really end up regretting it because you just did what you did. Well, you did what you wanted to do.
Or at least, we've got the mindset of like, we just go back to the way things were or jump on a different path.
Yeah,
I don't know if there'd be a regret there for me.
I'd love to hear like what
Yeah.
other people think about that. Let us know.
Tell us your secret.
Tell us your deepest secrets.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, that's good. Van life. I hopefully, like, everything's happening. We can, like, get updates as, like, that progresses and everything, like getting a van. And if, like, it happens and
When it happens.
when it happens,
Got a very clear sign the other day.
we can do a podcast out of the van.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sick. If it's a comedy, that'd be so sick.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, that was a pretty spontaneous episode. Haha.
Do we regret it?
No.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you next time.
Woo!